time, it is not fully like loaded because it is interactive. It is an open mic session of Mayekun's Diary Political. So you can phone in anytime to add your own view, as we love to call it, opinion on what we are talking about, or maybe something else we have spoken about before. That's the drill, the rule. And if you have read the caption, the description, like the broadcast, okay, share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them that Mayegun's brunch time is live. So let's get started. I don't know where you have been, but I bet some of you that will be watching this broadcast have probably come across the increased awareness on the killings in Nigeria, which has never really stopped. But the sudden awareness, as many are trying to control the narrative as it is. You probably have noticed that conversation online as well. If you have been online in the last 48 hours, it got kind of like hotter yesterday when some of the closet jihadists, the closet terrorists, the closet terror sympathizers, terrorist apologists, um, all sprout out from God knows where, their usual sewage, I think. So raise their voice against the loud awareness on the ongoing genocide against the indigenous people of Nigeria, who are mostly considered as Christians, by the way. So what happened? At least if you are from Nigeria, except if you have been living in denial all this while, none of the news of the killings in Nigeria would possibly shock you, not like shock you anymore, other than yeah, being human and then hearing that terrorists have killed a certain number of people, probably unsettle you as human, but not shock you anymore. The criminals in government in Nigeria have tried their best over the years to normalize this madness. They have created different schemes to ease out these terrorists from judgment. And the supposed locals, especially Muslims, I'll use that because I am not going to like to generalize for easy comprehension and understanding as much as that's what I want to achieve, right? The killings in Nigeria, right, has affected everyone, whether you are a Christian, a Muslim, or you are an atheist, or somebody who doesn't even practice any religion. You are not spared the level of a carnage unleashed on Nigeria in the last decade, at least, from Boko Haram to ISWAP to Lakurawa to Fulani terrorists and other wannabes who have now resorted into the copycats who have now resorted into kidnapping people for ransom too, all across the country. This used to be so alien, as corrupt as they have claimed Nigeria has been, as poor as Nigeria has been over the decades, right? Terrorism is something that is completely out of the play until APC, Egbekegbe, CPC, ACN, New PDP, ANPP, and all these stalwart of rogues decided that it was time to take over power in Nigeria. And in that process, they imported all kinds of terrorism into Nigeria, all kinds of terrorists into Nigeria, that when they got power, to get rid of them became almost impossible. Well, like impossible. Because if it was during the time of Boko Haram, people would say, oh, it's because he was a Fulani, or he's a Northerner, or it's because he's a Muslim, or it's because he's a fanatic. Then you have a Southerner, another pretentious Muslim too, Kalu, which has aggravated even the problem more. Rather, he himself is also placating these terrorists. So now, in the United Nations, where Shitty Man went to represent Tinubu, he was there advocating for the right of the Gazans, the Palestinians, to statehood, to protection and other stuff, safety and other from Israel. And surprisingly, he never mentioned Nigeria and what Nigeria is actually facing the world stage. He didn't. Then social media became agog. Oh, it was a wonderful speech. It was the amazing speech. The blah, the blah. Then the day after that, right? Another gathering in that same America where they are discussing the killings suffered by Christians. This is like gathering of Christians, put it that way. Christians, and they're like, oh, they're talking about the killings in Nigeria that from the record, which is true, for every for every 10 Christians killed daily all over the world, right? It is guaranteed that 8 of them are from Nigeria, are in Nigeria. Now that's staggering. So they threw a number and they said over 500,000 people have been killed by Islamic terrorists. While others were like, no, they were being killed by Muslims. And that is the erroneous allegation, which is practically not true. But two truths can coexist. Sure, you know, Muslims are not killing Christians in Nigeria. That is true. Are Christians and Muslims being killed in Nigeria? It is also true. But are those who are killing, the terrorists who are killing Nigerians, especially targeting the Christians community, are they claiming that they are Muslims or not? Yes, they are. We call them jihadists. And they even have their own tribes too. Do you get that now? So they are enabled by the rogues in government who, rather than crush these terrorists, have chosen to placate them, to pamper them, right? So what happened? The closeted jihadists, they came out of their closet, so to say, because talking about Christians being killed, at the same time they push for Sharia law, blasphemy in Nigeria, and the purpose to make sure that people are sentenced to death for whatever they say about your religion or about your prophet. Like, why would you kill anybody because of your prophet? Why would any sane person actually come out and say, if you abuse my prophet, I will kill you? In that country that was supposed to be, what do you call that thing again? A country where you are supposed to have a flexibility of religion, be multi-religious society, educated people. So yesterday, a case, no, it wasn't yesterday, rather. It was on Friday, rather. On Friday, a case of a young man that is being sued, right, into the court, right? He's being sued for blasphemy, and his accusers, they are asking him to be killed. So a video was released in the course of that United Nations, this and that, too, right? So a video was released, and it was like it was a report released by Reuters, and it was about this court case where they want to sentence somebody to death for blasphemy, for talking about dear Muhammad and all of that stuff. So people started reacting like, this is absolute rubbish. It is, I mean, isn't it better for the supposed Sharia Arewa in Nigeria to have their own country rather than try to, push this their blasphemy nonsense on other people? As much as some of them are saying that blasphemy, I mean, their Sharia is not for non-Muslims, it is just for Muslims and other bullshit. With what they are practicing in northern Nigeria, right? Any fool that subscribe to this their Sharia, this their political Sharia, in any part of Nigeria, should not be pity when they have their heads dangling, right, on the ground, slaughtered by this murderous terrorist, closest one. Now, talking about those who are killing Christians and Muslims in northern part of Nigeria, those existing, yes. Are Christians communities more affected than the Muslim communities? Maybe yes. You know why? In the middle belt part of Nigeria, tens of thousands and millions of people have become victims of this direct and indirect violence orchestrated by these terrorists, right? Whether they are Fulani terrorists or when you see the Fulani terrorists, those who are Fulanis in northern Nigeria, or maybe not even northern Nigeria, they will become mute when the atrocities of the Fulani terrorists are being kind of like, highlighted, so to say. Then you have the Boko Haram terrorists. Now, for the Fulani terrorists in particular, their own targeted areas are the areas that are known to be Christian communities. Baba, the Boko Haram, the Fulani terrorists are famous, right? If not every week, probably every month, of kidnapping Christian leaders. In this sense, so kidnapping Christian leaders like Catholic Reverend Fathers or what have you, and slaughtering them, killing them, shouting Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. But for those whose argument was that the Christians are making too much noise, like they are the only victims. These are the hypocrites. These are the hypocrites. These are the mofos, right? That are closet terrorists. Because guess what? It is true, like I said, it is true that Muslims are also being slaughtered by these murderous terrorists. Boko Haram have killed some prominent, maybe not prominent, but vocal Islamic scholars in northern part of Nigeria, in states like Sokoto, Katsina, even in Kaduna. They've picked some of these outspoken clerics who condemned this act of terrorism. Do you get that now? They have kidnapped and killed them. Worshippers, Muslims, have been attacked inside their mosque, at least as recent as even this month. We've witnessed 2 attacks on Muslims inside their mosque. But there was never a time that when these terrorists who carried out these attacks did, that you will see the ones who became offended because America is talking about, the Americans are talking about the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. None of them was ever so enraged that you would even notice it and say, man, you know what I mean? Like enraged by any of these killings of Muslims inside their mosque. Because in northern part of Nigeria, for your information, as much as they want you to believe that, they have this Muslim majority, they don't have Muslim majority to start with. However, even that Islam or whatever they practice in northern Nigeria is also classed. Even among themselves, they still believe that there are some people that are not practicing real Islam. And it's not because the Islam they are practicing is different, it's because of who they are. Do you understand that now? Oh, I'm a Fulani. A Fulani is believed to be a pure Muslim. An Hausa is not a pure Muslim to an average Fulani. To them, an Hausa, they are not, you know what I mean? And I'm saying this because this is people's experience in that place. So that's kind of class segregation that exists. But the Christians have been very, very vocal because there are evidences of their churches being burned down by these jihadists, right? We have seen people who are captured. They are not Muslims. They are kidnapped from their communities, Christian communities. Now, these are the existing stuff. And there have been also reprisals. Reprisal attacks are when people feel like they've had enough and they go on and target the soft target. Like when a community, like Christian community or so, decided to say, okay, you know what, we are going to go and attack that community. They are Muslims and like I'm not going to say that that doesn't exist as well, but we are talking about the systemic genocide of indigenous people in that supposed Nigeria that has been going on now for over a decade. There are certain group of people responsible for this, and they are claiming to be Muslims because they are shouting Allah Akbar. They are jihadists. The jihadists that says the Boko Haram says that until all of us turn to Muslim, they will kill all of us. We are infidel. Don't pretend that you don't know that, or you were not aware of that. The Fulani terrorists are coming, and they are claiming that like Nigeria land was willed to their own great grandfather Uthman Dan Fodio. Don't pretend that as much as you will laugh and say they are just joking, they are just talking nonsense. As much as you probably will laugh or brush it aside, but don't pretend that there are not those who believe in this and they are actually carrying out killings based on this. So they are offended. They said, talking about the killings now is like making it look like the Muslims are killing Christians. No, Muslims are not killing Christians. Christians are not killing Muslims in Nigeria. That narrative is yours if you believe that. By their verified, coordinated religious attacks, religious killings. And when we say religious killing, a Christians genocide in Nigeria right now, the answer is yes. Is the government doing anything at all, by any chance, to protect the lives of these Nigerians, Christians, Muslims, and the people they call the non-believers? The answer is no. They pretend to be, but that is actually not what we are seeing. Kwara State is becoming the new Benue, unfortunately. Kwara State. Kwara is also a tribally divided kind of a state where those who have the Fulani, the Fulani blood, so to say, sees themselves as probably superior to some extent. I don't know if that is just a misconception, so to say. However, the southern part of Kwara State for over 2 years now, the last 1 year has been a hell for this for the inhabitants of this part of Kwara State. At a point, their government seemed just didn't care. Like, one thing that criminal politicians in Nigeria have managed to perfect is the art of pretension, pretending that nothing is happening, and it is the art of just keeping quiet. 50 people killed in Katsina, 40 people killed in Zamfara, and over 60 people were also killed in Borno. Just don't say anything. It will blow over. When you are expecting, because when you are expecting your government to say something and say, what are you doing about this whole thing? They will say nothing. And the news will come. People will read it. They will see the videos. They will just move on to something else. But if maybe Tifnubu comes out and say, we will make sure that these killers, they are arrested. Now you have interest. Shut up your mouth, you useless government. You will not do anything. They are killing us and all of that. You react. So to them, the art of not saying anything works well. Oh, they've just kidnapped over 100 people in Nasarawa. Don't say anything. Don't confirm. Don't deny. Just don't say anything. And then people will move on. They will just be ranting in their Korman. As for the victims, again, don't say anything. You get what I mean? So they've learned that art of not saying anything. And people will just have to move on. But this time around, they had to say something. And what they said in this regard is to denounce any genocide going on. And that's where they are killing over 1,000 people. Over 1,000 people every month. And some people are just going to be like, how is that possible? let's see. So 1,000. Does that mean that they are killing 12,000 people? I am being conservative, Baba. We are talking about over 500,000 people slaughtered, and they are not right there in front of your screen. You are not at war, but people are dying. And that could be